What is up, sports fans, and welcome back to another episode of Pez's Picks. I'm Jeff Hartman, and joining me as always, the man with the picks. Pez, what's up? How are you?
Feeling good, Jeff, except for the flurry of injuries to quarterbacks and running backs in the NFL, and that makes gambling a little tough. It reminds me of the flurry of hurricane activity in the Atlantic Ocean. I'm on an island on this coast, in the East Coast, Jeff, and it's scary. It's a scary time to be an NFL player and to be a resident of a barrier island in New Jersey, but we're not complaining, Jeff, just like they're not.
It sounds like you are complaining a little bit.
Very terrifying. My man Legs is a parlay junkie. He hit one, Jeff, $2 parlay for 20. I forgot to post it. He's pissed at me. He's expecting a FanDuel gift card from us, but we'll talk about that later. He's also a weather nut, being the lifeguard. He showed me today. He goes, "It's the perfect storm." I said, "Give me a break. What was George Clooney? Am I going on a boat with Wahlberg?" I hope Legs is off on weather as much as parlays. That's our hope, Jeff.
All right. Well, let's recap week 3 in the NFL before we get our week 4 picks in. Last week, we did pretty, we definitely took our time. We are still working our way into the water, so to speak. And we took 2 games. We went 1-1. Let's start with the loss first. Houston at Jacksonville. We thought there would be a bounce back. There was no bounce back. They lose by a touchdown. What do you think about the Texans?
Well, first on that game, Jeff, I watched the whole thing. The Texans looked horrible, but they got it to 10-10. Houston's driving. It's 10-10. Nico Collins, it was like a 1984 strip from behind. Jeff coughs it up on the 10 or 15. Jacksonville, like 5 plays, goes down and scores. Stroud gets him back in scoring position, blows it again. I've got a couple issues with C.J. Stroud. You know, we're in year 3. Year 2 was rough. I'm not sure what kind of defense they're throwing at, Jeff. You're more X's and O's guys than me, but it appears they have figured this guy out. The long ball's not there. We're off Houston, Jeff. We're off them. Some people are taking them because they made some cuts in the defense and the other situations going on, but we are off C.J. Stroud. The amount of good quarterbacks in this league it seems to be dwindling, which makes gambling tougher to bet for but easier to bet against. I think we'll be looking to take action against Houston going forward. But I love the kid. I hope he works.
Yeah, it was a tough one, and but we also were winners in the AFC West matchup between the Chargers and the Denver Broncos. The Chargers were even spotting 2.5, and they cover. Denver was making it a game. They made us sweat, but we got the win.
They did. Bo Nix, though, as we talked about preseason, and as we talk about a lot, second-year quarterback struggle. I mean, he put up 153 yards, not very impressive numbers, and as my man Leg says in his fantasy league, he's changed his fantasy team to Bo Nix. So he has cut Bo Nix, Jeff. That's breaking news in the Legs Lifeguard Fantasy League. I think Denver outkicked their coverage a little bit last year, and I think the Chargers are better than we thought, and a team that looks to be going places. Quarterback looks more confident than he did last year. That defense looks for real. I think they let that team hang around a little bit longer than they needed to, and you know Denver's still a well-coached team and a good defense, but you know it's good when they work out. We'll take 1-1, Jeff. It brings us to, I believe, 6-4.
Yes.
So we're at our 60% mark, which is kind of the mark we want to be at, and hopefully this week we get us pumped back up to about 70, and then we're going to be counting the gold chips.
Yeah, but before we go ahead and look at week 4, you had a lean last week, and the lean hit. You took the over on Philly versus the Rams. That cleared it by a mile. And you're not taking that as a win, though, but I wanted to give you an opportunity to explain the lean situation.
Well, we've had some questions, Jeff, about, what's the difference here? In the gambling world, when we put out an official play, that's checking every box on the algorithm. That is, our system is screaming, take this game. Is it going to be right all the time? No, but we have about 6 things we look at. That's 5 or 6 of them checking the way we want. When it's a lean, it might be 3.5 or 4 checked boxes, maybe even 5, but we're not confident. Why we jumped on this game late? We were in Philadelphia. We're feeling the hype. The total opened at 46.5. I think when we put it out, it was down 44.5. 2 points is a big deal, especially playing powerhouse offenses, and that was an easy one. We looked like geniuses by the second half. But we're not going to count that to our official record. If you're more of a gambler, maybe you take the leans. If you're looking to maybe wrap things into a parlay, these are still games that are scoring in our system as games to take. but we're only putting out our premier plays as official plays when we say on Instagram, this is a play to take. That is the highest scoring game. There are always a couple that are in the middle, and sometimes we'll get a lead and we'll get a late feel. Usually it's going to be closer to game time too, depending on injuries, weather, line movement always is a big thing. 2 points is a huge difference. They ended up scoring, I think it was 59, but generally a point or two in this league, I mean, they're dialed in by week 3, week 4. And, that's part of why we're going to put a lead sometimes and not an official play.
All right. So, yeah, the lean hits. We don't take that. And so we're 6-4 heading into week 4. And
well, how about those birds, Jeff? How about those birds?
You guys are lucky. You are lucky.
Jalen Hurts.
Please,
I mean, here we go.
Come on now. Be honest here. The Birds got lucky as hell that they can't make a 46-yard field goal. That defense did not deserve to win that football game.
Jeff, it's a block. It's a block. Now, I like talking about this game because I watched this game. My heart started beating. If I would have taken the Rams, Jeff, he didn't need to pick that ball up and charge 70 yards down that field. That was a win, spread buster like I've never seen. I guarantee Vegas. When we look at the game, I mean, more money probably on the Eagles locally, but I bet you nationally the Rams had a lot of action. Well, what a kick in the face, Jeff. Oh, my God. But having said that, you make a halftime adjustment. Jalen shows like he did in the Super Bowl. This guy can air it out. A.J. Brown. We're having a little growing pains. Offensive coordinators new again. I mean, this is going to happen, so I think they're dialed in. I think the team's feeling better. Jalen Hurts, I'm going to say it right here, Jeff, second best quarterback in the league. I'm going to put Josh Allen ahead of him. I'll take Jalen Hurts over anybody in that league.
You can talk about the offense. They do have to get Saquon Barkley going, but you can talk about the offense, but you should be concerned about the defense, man. Like Nolan Smith is now out until November with a triceps injury. That's not going to help.
Unfortunate.
Like y'all need help.
Who hurts their tricep, Jeff? How do you hurt your tricep? Can't you play through a tricep injury? What the hell is going on?
Not as a defensive player. Like if you're extending your arms, like no, you can't do that. But I will say this:
Rams are a good
team.
Good team. Rams.
They are
maybe the second or third best NFC.
But you're a typical fanboy right now, and you're ignoring the bad part of your team and just focusing on the good.
It's okay. That's how we do it. When we don't play the game, we go full fanboy. But I think the Rams and the Bucks are 2A, 2B in terms of best teams behind the Eagles. Not much else in the NFC. We have a lot of injuries. Green Bay looks a little – I don't know what's going on with that team. Right? Well, I think we talked about it. That offense, I think I brought it up, that sputters sometimes. And I don't know, Jeff. The league is in disarray, but it makes it more fun.
Well, let me ask you this. You always pride yourself on taking the big games, and you have. And how are you not playing the Birds and Bucks this week?
I'm worried, Jeff. I'm worried about that game. Baker Mayfield is playing quarterback as high a level as anybody in the league. I mean, he is remarkably good when he's good. He does put up some dog meat games. The one thing scaring me on this game is the line, Jeff. It's at 3.5. They have no receivers. Evans is done. The rookie Egbuku, I'm probably I'm trumping that name a little bit, but whatever that name is, Jeff. He's banged up. They're down to, I don't even know who's going to be catching the ball, but that line's sticky at 3.5. Tom Brady, I heard him do a game last year. He said the hardest defense to play is Tampa. They're bullies. They're dirty. Everybody hates playing them, especially there. And the thing that really scares me on this game, it's going to be about 100 degrees. Birds are going down a day early. There's been a lot of energy, and the Birds got screwed on this schedule, Jeff. We are the only team in NFL history not to have 2 home games in a row. So we're going to shy away from that one. My lean is the Birds, and we might put a lean out for that one, but it's not officially to take it, not against Baker, not against that run game and that defense on the road. Not worth it, Jeff. We got better stuff to talk about here.
Let's talk about those Week 4 games. The first play is Thursday Night Football. Seattle goes to Arizona. Arizona was dealt a really tough blow. You've already put this play out on Instagram. By the way, check him out there. Closing in on over 90,000 followers. At Pez's Picks is the handle. You can check him out on Twitter as well.
92, Jeff. 92.
My apologies. So
we're getting there, buddy. We're getting that 100. It's coming.
But you can check. He already put this video out. You like Seattle -1.5, even on the road. They lost James Conner. That's the Cardinals. What's your take here?
James Conner, a true professional, a guy that I believe was in Cincinnati originally. I love this guy. That is the heart and soul of that offense. I think they're going to have a rookie start now from Florida State. Tough to step into that game and play against a hard-playing Seattle defense. When we look at the Cardinals' record, They were gifted, Jeff. They had the Saints, the Panthers, and the Niners without Purdy that they lost. So to us, they're a bit of a fugazi, as we say in South Philly. When we look at the Seahawks, played the Niners, they did lose with Purdy. They beat the Steelers at Pittsburgh. Great win there, and they blew out the Saints. So I think when we look at the lines and we look at the line that's set 1.5, that's based on stats. That's probably not an equal comparison. When we look at defensively, I think significantly Seattle has an advantage. I'm going to go with Sam Darnold over Kyler Murray every day of the week. Murray's come out. He's looked a little better, but I think against a legitimate defense and not being able to run the ball, they're going to struggle. I love Seattle in this one. I like Seattle to make the playoffs, Jeff. I think they make a push in that division. I could see them even winning that division if they could win this one and keep rolling, and San Fran keeps sputtering, which seems like there are a lot of bad news out of San Fran.
They'll have to contend with the Rams if the Rams can stay healthy as well. But let's go to the next game. Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time on the NFL Network. We have the Minnesota Vikings and Pittsburgh Steelers in Dublin, Ireland. The Steelers, this line has shifted tremendously in the last 2 weeks. The Steelers were at 1 point giving 1.5. Now they are getting 2.5. That line switch is crazy. You think about J.J. McCarthy is no longer the quarterback. He's dealing with a high ankle sprain. Carson Wentz, you know him well. He's the quarterback. Pittsburgh 2-1, Minnesota 2-1. You like the black and gold, am I right?
Jeff, the black and gold, I don't understand this line either. A team that, is going to go through some changes when you have a new quarterback, new system. Looked better last week against the Patriots on the road, who I think are a good team and a good defense. You take the veteran team and the veteran quarterback when you go overseas, Jeff. This kid, Aaron Rodgers, he's not going to be bothered by anything. Carson Wentz, I hate him, Jeff. Everybody knew in Philly, I hated that guy. He had one good year. He's a phony. He's not coachable. Did Andy Reid whisper something in his year the last couple of years? It's the only thing worrying us a little bit. He had a nice win last week. I don't know if we're going to count that, though. That game last week, the Bengals, they're done. That team stinks, too. So I'll take Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, on the road in Ireland. We have a guy on the ground. It's going to be cold. Wind chill is going to be mid-50s. It's going to feel damp. I've been to Dublin, Jeff. That's a weird place. Minnesota, dome team, going to Ireland, and I think they're sticking around in Europe for 2 weeks. Yep. Can you imagine the amount of gear an NFL player has to pack for 2 weeks, Jeff? These guys are probably bringing trucks. They're sending pods over. That's a lot to think about for the Minnesota Vikings. Carson Wentz got to be shaking in his boots. We both know Tomlin crushes quarterbacks that have any type of liability, and they're watching tape on Carson Wentz. There's a reason that guy's been a backup for years now. I love Pittsburgh in this situation. In a way, for me, it's kind of a must-win for them. They have a lot of pride. Aaron Rodgers, a lot of pride. Look for DK and him to light it up all day. I think this one's a blowout, Jeff. I love them all day. I can't wait to watch it. Is there anything better than a 9:30 Sunday morning game? I mean, I can't watch Manchester United anymore. I don't want to ruin the talk here, Jeff, and bring up English League soccer, but they're the worst they've ever been. So Pittsburgh, 9:30. What channel is it on? Do I have to watch it on Nickelodeon?
NFL Network.
Is Toy Story?
NFL Network.
Okay, so no. I didn't even watch the Toy Story game, Jeff. I loved that last year. Me and the kid watched it. We got a lot of kick out of that, eating Fruity Pebbles. But we love Pittsburgh. I love their defense. They're going to figure this out. They got better last week. Look for them to abuse Carson Wentz all day. He does not like the rush, Jeff. He's got bad mechanics. His footwork's bad. Back heel thrower, looks at the rush. Look for that all day. I can't wait to bury Carson Wentz. I can't wait.
Wow. This is a personal vendetta. I'm excited because, honestly, the Steelers, it's tough for them. They are struggling right now. They're not looking at the best. But, man, you're injecting some hope into me. I love it. And I'll tell you what. I mean, we'll talk when we get to the Ryder Cup. What a weekend of sports this weekend is. Let me just say that. Let me just say that. All right. So you're like the Steelers plus 2.5, the third and final play of the week. This is an interesting game based on the spread, and we'll explain that here. We have the Bears coming off their first win of the season, going out to Vegas to play the Las Vegas Raiders. This is a 4:25 kickoff. Both teams are 1-2. You have a line of the Raiders minus 1.5. And I see at ESPN Bet, now we checked before we hit record, both FanDuel and DraftKings have the Raiders giving a 1.5. ESPN Bet right now, you can get the Raiders getting a 1.5. That's crazy. I've never seen such a discrepancy before. Pez, why don't you talk about that?
It's a different world, Jeff. I mean, we've got betting houses out the wazoo. Everybody's got one now. I suppose ESPN is leaning on the original line where Vegas was getting 2.5, the original open. But Vegas giving 1.5 tells me that the Bears, that was the greatest game they're going to play all season, right? I mean, Caleb, he did light it up a little bit last week. Vegas at home, I love him. I love the coach at this point. I think, we're now going to be 4 games in. I think the system is going to be clicking a little bit more. A rough loss on the road last week against the Commanders. They did put up a lot of points, but they gave up a lot too. Look for them to make Caleb beat them, and I don't think in that situation he's doing it in Vegas. I love this game, Jeff. I'm not a Caleb Williams guy. Maybe he'll prove me wrong this week. But when we look at the stats, it appears that Vegas has a significant advantage. Points allowed, we've got a 7-point cushion. Vegas only allowing 24, Chicago allowing 31. I'll take that all day. A much better run defense for Vegas, and I like that too. Look for them to run the ball and look for Geno Smith to control this game. I mean, there's a reason he's there. The guy's been in the league since I was in high school, Jeff. So I don't think he makes mistakes. Look for Caleb to turn that ball over, zinging it around.
Yeah, Max Crosby will want to meet Caleb Williams for the first time. That'll be an interesting play. So you like the Raiders. So to recap our NFL plays for week 4, Seattle on Thursday night going to Arizona, giving 1.5. We're taking the Seahawks. Early Sunday morning, Vikings, Steelers in Dublin. Steelers are getting 2.5. You're taking the black and gold. And then lastly, the later game, 4:25 Eastern time kickoff in Vegas, Bears at Raiders. You like the Raiders, even though they're spotting 1.5. Any other thoughts on week 4, Pez?
I caution people to bet 4 against these backup quarterbacks, Chef. You got to really do your homework. A very inconsistent league right now. We've still got a handful of quarterbacks out, but if you do your homework, week 1 you might get a little magic. We're not going to see it all the time, but week 2 they tend to come back down to earth. You get a little more tape. People are reminded who they're playing against. So I think you got to really be locked in at this point and really do your homework when you're betting against some of these backups, especially running back and quarterback. Very unpredictable.
All right, let's go to college football. Last week we had 2 plays. We went 1-0-1, which advances our record to 5-5-1, the most 500 record you can have. And so let's talk about Michigan and Nebraska. Nebraska was getting 3. They lose by 3. That's a push. What's your take on your boy Riola?
A little disappointing, Jeff. I think defensively they let us down. I still like Riola. Of course, Michigan's going to have more talent. The quarterback Underwood was a 5-star prospect who played a little better than we thought he might, but we're happy with that push. 29 straight games, Nebraska's now lost to top 20 teams, Jeff. I don't understand how that's possible. I mean, a perennial powerhouse in the 80s and 90s, and they're just not there. I thought they would be, but we're happy with the push, and we'll keep that locked in. A game that doesn't ruin them, but probably makes it very difficult for them to make the playoff. They'd have to probably win out and get a little lucky. But not a bad showing for Riola. Okay. I think he's a solid quarterback, and we're happy with the push, Jeff. In college football, we'll take a push all day. We'd like the wins, but the push is never a bad thing.
That dude needs to stop pretending that he's Patrick Mahomes and be his own guy for a second, and maybe he'll start to find his own way. We'll put it that way.
That could help, Jeff. That could definitely help.
All right. Let's go to our next play that we had last week. Georgia State at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt was giving 26.5. They win. They cover. Thoughts on Vandy getting the win?
Another blowout, right? I mean, this quarterback's for real. This team's fun. Maybe could be the new Indiana this year, Jeff. I like this coach and this team a lot. A lot of energy and a lot of big leadership out of that quarterback. I love him all day.
All right, so we go 1-0-1, like we said. This week we're taking 3 games. There's some big games on the docket. We have first and foremost Florida State at UVA. The Wahoos. Most people don't know if the UVA is the Wahoos, but you're liking Florida State giving 6.5 here. Go ahead and explain yourself.
Well, the quarterback was dinged up last week. From everything I'm seeing, Tommy Castellanos is playing. He practiced every day this week. I think that affected the line a bit. They are dinged up a lot, Jeff, but I think at the end of the day, most of these guys are going to play. When you look at Virginia, they haven't really – this is a team I don't think is going to have the horses to keep up with the Florida State. They do come in with a nice record, but Coastal Carolina, William Mary, and Stanford are not Florida State. This is going to be a wake-up for them like they've never seen. The speed Florida State comes with, and Castellanos, if he can be a pocket passer, Look for big things out of them. I'll take them on a short week, laying the 7 all day. And I think Virginia, not knowing what quarterback's playing, could hurt them a little bit. But Kesselon is playing. The line opened at 9.5. We're getting it at 7. I'll take that all day. That's a discount.
All right. So we like Florida State. Let's go to an SEC matchup. Alabama, who is still ranked, facing Georgia. Georgia is only giving 2.5 here. That's surprising to me. In your take, you're like the Bulldogs. You like Georgia. What do you think?
Georgia at home is, I mean, as strong of a bet as you can make, especially when you're only laying a couple points. I think Georgia is more likely a top 5 team, and Alabama is less likely to make the playoff, Jeff. The system, Saban, the team's not the same. Let's face it. It's just they're not there yet. I love Georgia, 3-0. This is a game they kind of have to win. Opening game for them against a big time. They've already beaten Tennessee. To now beat Alabama. After this game, they've only got two more ranked teams, maybe 3 left. Texas, Ole Miss. So this is a big game for them to make their playoff run. They're not losing to Kentucky, Florida, Auburn. I think this is the game of the week, and we love them at home. Georgia, I'll take them all day, Jeff. That's a powerhouse at home. We'll take them all day.
All right, let's go to the final game. Indiana, the Hoosiers at Iowa. Indiana is spotting 7. You like them over the Hawkeyes. Go ahead.
The offense seems to be churning again for Indiana. This is a coach that's cocky. I mean, his name slipping me right now. The guy from JMU, Jeff, that came in last year and lit up the country with Indiana. I love him. A former Saban guy. He likes lighting the board up. I don't worry about him covering spreads. That guy likes to bury people. That's the kind of college coach you want to bet on, Jeff. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. I got too much going on in the head right now with these hurricanes and legs talking to me. But I'll take Indiana in this one going away. I think they light this team up. He's looking to make the playoff again. They got to put a ton of points on the board. I love them all day.
All right, so we have 3 college football plays. Florida State giving 6.5 or 7, as you stated. At UVA, we're taking Florida State. Alabama, Georgia. At Georgia, that's -2.5. We like the Bulldogs. And lastly, Indiana at Iowa. Indiana spotting a touchdown. We still like Indiana. So let's see if we can get above 500 this week in college football. Any other thoughts?
College football is tough, Jeff. I mean, this is a tough sport. 500, we're happy through 4 weeks. A lot of inconsistency. And a lot of the top dogs, we're not seeing them play to the level they have. I still like the Miami Hurricanes. I still think they're the best team in the country. I think they're going to be tough to beat in this playoff.
Okay. Now, baseball. This weekend, baseball's regular season wraps up. And you said you have no interest in these late regular season games. You're really focusing on the playoffs. Is that still true?
Well, we're going to look for, there's teams playing right now that need to win to stay in. I mean, Boston, even the Yankees a little bit, Mets, Arizona. So we're going to look for games that make sense, Jeff. But desperate times doesn't equal wins in baseball. Football, I think when a team's desperate, the level can rise. That's a very difficult thing to do in baseball. So we're gonna tiptoe into the playoffs. With the playoffs, we're gonna have a ton of action. I can't wait for that. Baseball playoffs are great.
Okay. Last thing we got to talk about, and I alluded to this earlier in the podcast, this is such a great weekend of sports. You've got Major League Baseball wrapping up. You've got a full slate of college games, big SEC games. The NFL is underway with a 9:30 game all the way through. And you also have the Ryder Cup Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, a 3-day event. It is different. This is not stroke play. It is match play. U.S., Europe. At Bethpage Black, the fans are going to be obnoxious. I'm here for it. And we've got a lot of plays here. And you put a couple of them out. I'll let you say what you think, and then I'm going to give you a couple of my plays that I had from my podcast.
Well, and we're about to release this one tonight. We're going to take Russell Henley to be the top point scorer overall combined. I believe that's plus 1,100, Jeff. I like him. I like taking a putter. The greens are easy from what generally a Ryder Cup would be. I love him. I think they're going to match him up with maybe even a Shambo, Jeff. So I hope he gets maximum outings. I mean, that's the one thing you can't control in this. You might have a guy who only gets 2 chances and play Sunday, or maybe 1 chance. I think Henley, we're going to look at least 4 outings, 2, maybe 1 Saturday. Maybe we get lucky. He's got 5 chances. I love him. I love his putting. I love his game in this course. And I'll take that all day plus 1,100.
So you're taking Russell Henley as the top scorer for all parties, Europe and USA?
All players plus 1,100, Jeff.
Wow.
And that's one that I like a lot. I think he's going into this with the chance, to top combined. So if you look at this when you're playing, it's called top combined score.
Right.
You've got Scheffler at 500. Henley's the fifth favorite. So when I look at that above list, I think we're going to have to take the advantage when we have it there, Jeff. Plus 1,100, I'll take that all day. Put $10 on it, you win 110, go home happy.
Yeah, but you could also get Scotty for plus 500. I'd take Scotty Scheffler any day of the week. Any day of the week at plus 500. The book that I was looking at earlier this week had Scotty at plus 300. If you're getting plus 500, Scotty Scheffler is the most points. I'm taking that all day and all night at plus 500.
Well, the one thing with Scotty, he's going to be going up against their best players, right? So I think if Henley can kind of mix in with the second, third tier player
what you're saying,
opponent.
But he might not play in every session, though. That's the only fear
possibly
there.
Possibly not.
Scotty's playing in 5. Scotty's playing in 5. Rory's playing in 5. Bryson's playing in 5. Like, they're not giving those guys a session off.
I hope history is wrong, Jeff, but Scotty appears to be like a lot of these great guys, a 500 player in the Ryder Cup, right? I mean, this guy, like a Tiger Woods. I'm not
He's only played in 2. He's only played in 2.
Still 500, Jeff. He's
500. He went undefeated in his first one in 2021.
Very true, but now he's got the curse of Sam Burns. They're going to match that boring guy up with him. I don't know, Jeff. They can't be putting Scheffler and Burns. That scares me. I'm going to try to channel Keegan.
We won't know that till today, Thursday, when this podcast is out. They have not released who the first pairings are or anything like that. What other plays do you have? Because I'm just looking at mine. I'm sure we have a couple that are similar.
So we put out this week, we've got John Rahm, top point getter for wild card at plus 430. I love that one. You look at the wild card list. There aren't too many guys.
I had Ludwig plus 750. I think he's a dark horse.
Not a bad play.
I think he's a dark horse candidate.
This course could play a little bit like kind of like in Augusta, Jeff. We talked off camera. The rough's not going to be too brutal. That kid can smoke the ball. His putting on easier greens that aren't super fast seems to be a little better. So I like that play a lot. I do.
I'm gonna get your thoughts on this play. Okay, so this is what I found this on DraftKings Sportsbook. A wire-to-wire team win. So that means they have to lead for all 3 days. You can get plus 425 odds that either team leads the entire time and wins it. It doesn't matter who wins it. You can get either team plus 425 to be a wire-to-wire winner. I think whether it's U.S. or Europe, history has shown us that it is wire-to-wire wins most of the time.
Well, I think that's a smart play, Jeff. I read an article. I believe whoever is leading the first session has like an 82% chance of winning based on history. So I like that. I think there's good money on that.
You act like I'm an idiot, man.
Well, I mean, you're doing your research, Jeff. 82% is pretty high.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a higher chance of winning if you're leading that first session than even leading at the end of the day. So I like that play. I think that's a good
the book's
play.
giving you either team to win wire to wire is crazy. Take it.
Jeff, they're giving us so much now. I don't even think they're analyzing these lines, right? I don't think they care. I don't think they care if you win a little bit. I think they want you to. It's like Vegas. They're throwing out $1 million slot machine giveaways, right? But I like that play all day. I love it.
You just give me credit for it when you put the video out. That's all.
I do. I won't jump on. I won't tread your turf, but I like that play.
Okay.
We've got another player prop. Ben Griffin, 1.5 points or more. We put it out. It was even money, and it's now down to minus 110. I guess a lot of people jumped on it, Jeff, and we talked about it. But we'll take that. I think he's a solid player as anybody going into this Ryder Cup for America, and I think 2 points for him is a legitimate thing. I think he's going to win his match on Sunday, so we got to get one more. I like Ben Griffin in this situation. Tough kid, Carolina boy.
Yeah.
Tar Heel, I'll take him on.
I've got him as the top debutant for me. And it's like anywhere from plus 350 to plus 400. There's only 5 players in that field. So I like his odds there. But all right, Pez, this is going to be a great weekend. I know you're amped up for it. What are your final thoughts?
Well, why we're not taking America, the line right there, you're laying a lot of money. I think it's minus 170. It might have dropped a little bit. I think that's too much to lay in a tournament like this when you have 11 out of 12 guys coming back for Europe who beat us, Jeff. So I hope I'm wrong, and I hope America cleans up. We might put out an exact score tomorrow. We're going to look at that too. But I'm worried, Jeff. You know I'm worried. I'm a little worried. I'm worried about the beer prices, too.
Oh, my gosh.
$19 for a beer? What the hell's going on here? $750 tickets? What the hell is this? When did sports become a rich guy's thing? Right? Let's get some regular dudes in there, some real New Yorkers in there to scare some of these guys. I don't think it's going to be as rowdy as they're saying, Jeff. When you have a rich crowd, this happened at the Eagles Stadium. When they went from the vet to the link, it became a rich crowd. It's not that crazy anymore, Jeff. No, nobody's throwing snowballs at Santa Claus anymore. I don't think it's going to be as nuts as people think.
Okay. Fair enough, Pez. I know you're going to enjoy it. I know I will too. We'll be back next week to talk about all that stuff. Make sure you check out Pez on at Pez's Picks on Instagram and on Twitter or X. And we will have all the plays, the latest leans, all that stuff right there for you. Pez, thanks for your time, man. We'll talk next week. Take it easy.
Go USA.